My name is Layla Izzat, and today we'll be discussing tariffs. But to talk about tariffs, we need to explain what a tariff is. A tariff is a tax that a government places on imported goods, therefore making them more expensive. A more recent example of a tariff is one of Trump's tariffs on Chinese goods, which was made in 2018, which had a negative effect on both consumers and businesses. So let's dive in. The main goals of Trump's 2018 tariff were to protect American jobs and industries, to stop the theft of U.S. intellectual property, to pressure China to end their unfair trade practices, and to gain leverage in trade negotiations. The tariffs went into effect on September 24, 2018, starting at roughly 10% and rising to 25% by January 1, 2019. They were trying to target over $200 billion worth of Chinese imports because of an investigation that showed that China was hurting American businesses and limiting fair competition. Unfortunately for the American people, consumers were heavily impacted by this tariff. Importers in the United States absorbed most of the cost, but they, in return, passed it down to the consumers, raising the retail prices up to 30% more. Some of these products included machine parts, metals, and even chemicals. Consumers weren't the only ones struggling from this tariff. It was estimated that the tariff costed the U.S. economy over 245,000 jobs by the end of 2021. However, there were some people that benefited from this tariff. For example, steel and aluminum producers saw a boost from the tariff, which increased the cost of their foreign competitors' products. Home appliance manufacturers who had complained about unfair competition with foreign companies were suddenly making good profit after tariffs were imposed on imported washing machines. Tariffs don't just affect big companies in other countries. They affect people like us too. They affect the prices of goods that we buy at stores and even the jobs that we have. Using the example of Trump's tariff on China in 2018, we saw how there were both good and bad things that came out of it. For example, the prices on everyday goods often increased, which ended up hitting consumers' wallets. Jobs were protected in some industries, but others, like exporters, suffered major losses. Consumer choice became limited as some imported goods became too expensive and even disappeared from the market altogether. And in the end, only a few industries benefited, but millions of consumers and small businesses paid the price. After listening to all of this information, we have to ask ourselves, are tariffs truly protecting us, or are we just simply paying more to hurt ourselves? Thank you.